So a while ago, I posted on Instagram about how I would gladly accept Nicaraguan citizenship if it were offered to me. A number of folks were confused about why someone who grew up in the United States and lived a global citizen lifestyle would want to have a Nicaraguan passport, including a couple of Nicaraguans. And so today I'm going to explain the thought process for why specifically I would take Nicaraguan citizenship, but also touch on a greater theme that I think you should use when it comes to choosing the best second citizenships for you. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson, and here at Nomad Capitalists, we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where they're treated best, from offshore tax savings to second citizenships, to make sure they always have options. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. And while I can't say that my post on Instagram was 100% serious, I don't know who is just going to step out of the woodwork and offer me a Nicaraguan citizenship tomorrow, I stand by my point. And I'll tell you why I made that post about being willing to be Nicaraguan on Instagram. Was because a little over a year ago, I had a gathering at my home, and I had people from all around the world who were living in Malaysia come, and we had a dinner party. And folks from Iran, from Russia, from the US, from Egypt, and one gentleman from Nicaragua. And he and I were talking, and he said, "Oh, I can't believe that you would give up a US citizenship. You know, everyone where I'm from, that is their dream, is to live in the US, to be a US citizen." And he said, "Our passport is terrible." And I actually sat him down, and I said, "I don't think your passport's that terrible at all." I said, "Look at this map of places where Nicaraguans can go. You can go more places than a lot of people who are from wealthier countries. You can go to the UK, you can go to Ireland, you can go to all of Europe, you can go all over a lot of parts of the Americas, Asia, etc. You've got a lot of travel freedom. But there's one place that apparently you all want to go, and you can't, and it's very difficult to get in, and that's the United States. Well, welcome to the club, brother. One of the most difficult countries in the world to visit, let alone immigrate to, is the United States. And so everyone wants to go there, right? Now, we can argue in another video about why everyone wants to go to the one country, allegedly everyone wants to go to the one country that doesn't really want them. It makes it very difficult when there's so many other options. But that really sparked my thought process that, you know, if you are a successful person, if you're a global citizen, the passport you have really isn't important. And what I've sometimes talked about is, if you ever see those big cruise ships, maybe you've taken a cruise, and you'll see on the side, you know, the flag of Panama, or sometimes even Liberia. A lot of cruise ships are registered in Liberia. Do you think that cruise ship has taken anyone to Liberia? Do you think that ship has ever even been to Liberia? No, it is a flag of convenience. And so the reason that I believe Nicaraguan citizenship, if it were offered, would be a good one is a couple of reasons, actually. Number one, it's a small country. Small countries are able to be more flexible. They generally leave people alone. They don't have a ton of resources to be going down chasing down people over stupid stuff. They don't go and start wars generally all around the world and develop a bad reputation that you want to run away from. I think, and I've said for a long time, small countries, in my opinion, are often better to be associated with. And Nicaragua is also an emerging country, which in my mind means they have to do certain things right. There's a threshold in which countries just think they can do no wrong, and they can start taxing their citizens all over the place. They can make doing business there very difficult. They can impose tons of regulations. You can say whatever you want about the politics of a country like Nicaragua. Whatever the politicians really believe, they have realized, hey, we need to let people come in and invest. In the case of Central American countries, that's often the US and Canada. But whatever the case may be, we need to let people bring their money in here, or else we're screwed, because they realize what I've been talking to you about for so many years, which is you have a globally competitive marketplace now. It's no longer 4 countries. Every country's open for business, and they can capture a segment of the population, a segment of the dollars. They have to be open because they're not only small, but they're also emerging. Nicaragua also has resources. You can grow your own food there. You obviously have water. To me, that's a valuable thing to have. And so that would make it a good country that if you had to go and live there, you could. They do have good visa-free travel. This is one thing that surprises a lot of people. As they look at these countries, they get poo-pooed in the media, or where their fellow citizens, the poor Nicaraguans. You look at the Nicaraguan passport, you look at the Salvadorian passport, you look at so many passports that you think would be terrible. I wrote an article a couple years ago about how the fastest growing passport in terms of visa-free travel was Serbia. And I spent time in Serbia, I love Serbia. Their passport added so many countries to travel to. And that's been the general trend over the years, is most countries in the world are opening up to other countries. The US will always be a difficult country to get into, but Southeast Asia and much of the Americas and Europe is opening up so people can travel, people can do business, people can live. And so you can make fun of a Nicaraguan passport, but let me tell you this. If you want to move to Europe and get a golden visa, get a freelance visa, if you want to move to Malaysia and get an MM2H, they don't care whether you're American or Nicaraguan. It makes zero difference to them. If there's a KYC, if there's a due diligence process, if you pass it, they don't care. And by the way, if I were to get a Nicaraguan passport, having been to Nicaragua, never lived there, and it's not my ancestry, they would treat me basically as where I've come from. They would want police records from places like the US. So having a passport gets you into a lot of places. There's passports like Nicaragua. And no one's really going to look at you any differently, except for maybe in a tiny handful of countries that we've talked about before, like the United States. Nicaragua is also a lot more tax friendly. If you live there, foreign source income, not taxed. So as a plan B, as an escape hatch, you can go there, they have resources, they have waterfront property, you can grow your own food, and you can live there in a tax-friendly way, in a way that you couldn't live in most Western countries. Now, I've been to Nicaragua. Certainly, there are some parts of the country, like the capital, that can be a little dangerous. So you have to be careful, particularly in Central America. But there are also parts where you can go and just be left alone, living on the water, living up in the hills. But that's the last point, why I would take that passport. You don't have to live there. The flag of convenience, that passport that you can take, can be used to travel around the world. And I'll tell you this, if you were to give up your Western passport, give up your US passport, for example, and you went to a bank and said, hey, I'm Nicaraguan, more banks would respect you. More banks would be open-minded to working with you than they would be towards an American, or increasingly towards a Brit or towards an Australian, where we're seeing some banks start to refuse service to those folks. And so that's the point. Nobody really has a particular beef with the Nicaraguans. They let them into their countries, by and large, to visit. They have no particular qualm with letting them establish residence as long as you meet the requirements of having money. And so understand that your reasons for wanting a second citizenship are different. And now, the whole point of this exercise and why I picked Nicaragua is because a guy came from Nicaragua to my party and he told me this story. We had this conversation. You can substitute any other country of this ilk for Nicaragua. I'm not saying this one particular country is the only one, but remember his reason for not wanting his passport and wanting the one that I had. He wanted to go and live and work in the United States. His friends and family wanted the opportunity that they heard about through the grapevine, that they could live in the United States and make more money. If you've already made money, if you're already successful, that reason goes out the window. That idea that you need to be a Westerner because you have to be able to make money. If you make money online, if you're doing consulting, if you're doing any number of businesses that you can run from anywhere, you do not need access to those countries the same way that his friends and family believe that they do in order to become wealthy. So you can take your existing wealth, shed some of the baggage of a current passport, and add very little baggage, quite frankly. Maybe if you go to Mexico, maybe they don't like the Nicaraguans. Obviously, every region has their own little conflicts, okay? There's always going to be maybe one or two places where you get in trouble. But I'm not saying get rid of your current citizenship to be Nicaraguan or anything like it. What I'm saying is your reasons for a second passport are different, and a lot of these countries that you might look down upon actually offer great resources, great livability, great tax policies. They have to be somewhat flexible, and they give you a passport that's relatively good to get around the world. That's what most people don't understand, and that's why I would happily take one of these passports if it was offered to me. How can Nomad Capitalists help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, Go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.